Welcome, everyone, to Friday 15 with Master B2B. My name is Brian Beck. I'm here with Andy Hoare, my partner in our intergalactic podcast session here. Andy, welcome to Friday.
Yeah, Brian, I think we switched sides. Are you like on the different side here?
Yeah, I don't know if we can. Let's see if we can switch.
Wow.
It back. Do that. No, we can zoom in on it, but that's about it.
Our regulars might be thrown off a little bit here.
No, this is very strange. I don't know, man. Well, welcome everyone to Friday 15. And we had an exciting week. We're on the road in Atlanta. We'll get into that in just a minute. Before we do that, though, I want to talk about some breaking news. Everyone, Andy, did you see this? This is a new report or new data that eMarketer released this week saying that misleading output, performance issues, and privacy and transparency define AI's trust gap. 33% of US Gen AI users have experienced inaccurate or misleading output when using the technology, according to the report by Deloitte that eMarketer reported on. So to me, Andy, what's interesting about this is that we've all become so sort of, when we think about doing Google searches, the way that we've searched for product information or answers or what have you in the past, we become used to kind of critically thinking about what the results are telling us. But with Gen AI, you're interacting with it. You're talking to it like you're talking to an quote unquote expert. And so, we tend to want to believe in what it tells us in a way that I think a traditional search engine query does, we don't think about it the same way. So if a third of people are experiencing inaccuracy, where is that leading us, right? And what are your thoughts? What's your reaction?
This is all about expectations, because it's not like 100% of the things that people tell us in the real world are also accurate. I mean, we've all had that conversation with our uncle or our grandfather where we're highly suspicious of what we're being told. But it's not like we say, my gosh, 1/3 of the time grandpa, was wrong. And that's totally unacceptable. We assume that he has good intent. I think that's the problem here, is we assume that Gen AI has good intent, that it wants to tell us the truth. But as you and I were talking offline about, this is all going to get thrown in. The chess pieces are going to be thrown in the air once OpenAI and ChatGPT and all the rest of them start accepting advertising.
Oh, sure.
Because then at that point, we're going to be like, wait a minute. Are you telling me this is the best pizza place in Evanston, Illinois, because you're getting paid by them to say that, or because you genuinely believe this from your aggregation algorithms? That's when it's going to be really hard. And then it's just going to be Google all over again in that regard, because are we being told by sponsors or are we being told by algorithms?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how this evolves. But I think there's this layer of, number one, LLMs don't have intentions, right? So you can't assume the intention of a Gen AI agent. And then it's, you get this misleading information. So the tendency is to believe it. But yeah, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see. And ads just up the game entirely when that happens. And I'm sure it's a win.
I would just encourage people to do one thing, though. Let's compare it to the alternative.
Right.
And I get this all the time when people talk about self-driving cars. They say, oh, yeah, these self-driving cars, 20 people were killed last year. I'm not sure what the number is. I'm making that up, in self-driving cars. And I'm like, yeah, but 35 to 40,000 were killed by humans. So which would you trust?
Right. Good point. Yeah, good point. Exactly. All right. Well, we got to get into our topic today, Andy. We were in Atlanta this week at B2B Online, and we held a debate: 1P versus 3P selling on Amazon. Which is better for B2B? And this was a fascinating discussion. I'll set us up a little bit in terms of the context of the debate. And of course, Andy, that at my company in SIBA, we work with this issue all the time. So we work with B2B companies on Amazon. So Amazon Business, the first point of the matter is, for B2B companies, Amazon Business is perhaps the most relevant element or reflection of how Amazon is addressing B2B industries. And this year, according to Bank of America, they'll do $83 billion. So this is an enormous category. And you made the point, Andy, at the conference that that's significantly larger than Grainger. What are they? They're about 17, I think, billion, right?
And approaching AWS size, which is like 120 billion. And we think this number, not to give away one of our predictions, but we think this number is actually higher than that. And if our higher number is accurate, it's within, spitting distance of AWS's actual revenue. Now, who would have thought that Amazon's B2B business was generating as much revenue, nearly as much revenue as AWS?
Yep. It's incredible. So it's really, and it's across many different categories. This isn't just office supplies. Industrial and MRO products, for example, are one of the largest categories. And what's driving a lot of this is customers, right? 60% of millennials say their Amazon is their most preferred shopping channel. 2/3 make half or more of their online purchases from Amazon. And by the way, folks, millennials and Gen Z are now 75% of the workforce. Millennials are now entering their 40s, guys. So we're talking about a cohort here, which is an Amazon native cohort that are using this for their personal life and now increasingly using Amazon for their buying in their business.
Well, and one other quick thing too about this, which just came out in the last week or two, one of the criticisms of Amazon has been that Amazon has not gotten on board with allowing the robots or the bots to scan its site and participate in the answer engines like Perplexity and ChatGPT, et cetera. Well, they've reversed course on that, and they said they're open to discussions about that. So were they going to be a walled garden or not? It looks like they're going to at least allow some people to get in, which now addresses that issue. Like, is Amazon going to go to war with the answer engines, or is it going to work with them? If it goes to war, that could be dangerous and risky. Now, however, it looks like they're going to cooperate with them. So they've even addressed that issue.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that, but that whole sort of search landscape and such is really evolving so quickly. It's going to be interesting to watch their play because they're investing themselves in all the search, as we talked about recently on another Friday 15 with the head of Amazon Business Services.
So I suspect there's some of that too, right? It's going to be, they need to make it reciprocal, and these sites are going to block Amazon if Amazon blocks the sites. So, hey, we have to all get along. Right?
Exactly. So if you're a business, a B2B business, you have to make a decision. Number one, Amazon now is too big to ignore. So a lot of companies, particularly manufacturers, are saying to themselves, well, we need to sell on Amazon. We need to take it a step to, control this channel and then get close to it in the sense that, there's so much opportunity here that we can't ignore it. We want to sell on it because it is a legitimate distribution channel. So there's different ways to do that. There's what's called Vendor Central, which is wholesale selling. It's also called 1P, where you sell directly to Amazon on a purchase order. You ship to their fulfillment centers. Amazon takes ownership of it like a traditional distributor would. They price the product, they sell the product. And the other side of this is what's called Seller Central, the other way to sell on Amazon. That's also called 3P or third-party selling. And this is essentially a marketplace model where you're selling through Amazon, not to Amazon. Amazon never buys the product. There's no purchase order. It's more of an e-commerce type transaction with Amazon as a facilitator. Amazon still processes the order. You can use something called Fulfilled by Amazon to ship the product in a Prime eligible way to the customer. So they'll handle the shipping for you. But again, there's no sort of purchase of the product. So this was the crux of the debate, Andy, where we asked the question, which of these are better? And this is some research we did at INSEBA earlier this year, our Pulse report, which said, hey, what are the biggest challenges? We asked folks who are selling on Amazon, what are the biggest challenges you face? And what's interesting is the top ones were all about channel conflict and control, price erosion, unauthorized resellers, causing conflict with traditional distribution. So that's the crux. That was the crux of our first round when we asked the question all about that. Now we had two teams, Andy. You were team 1P is number one. And I was team 3P or no P, meaning 3P or nothing. And you had a couple great people. You want to talk about who you had on your team?
Yeah, it's Shalene Shaw. We call him the Shaman from UPS. It was fantastic. He had a lot of really interesting insights because he's lived in that world for a while. He was at Georgia Pacific prior to that. Right. So he had a lot of great insights. And then Rudy Taguru, Abitbol. Taguru is actually French for little guru. So he said that's what he wanted to be called.
I love it. I love it.
So he's VP Commerce at AMG Medical, and he brought a really interesting perspective as well.
Yeah, because he has 1P and 3P experience. And so for my team, I had Adrian the Hammer Hartman, two-time returning champion. So she was quite seasoned at our debates. She's EVP marketing at JJ Keller. And I also had Samantha the Slasher Schwartz. Sam is another ecom veteran, also good experience on both sides of Amazon 1P, 3P. She is the chief digital strategy officer at a manufacturer distributor called Midland Industries. They're in the fasteners and plumbing industry. So it was a really great debate. And our first question was all, and here's a picture for those of you who watching visually of our debate in front of, the entire conference. This was a main stage debate. And our round one, Andy, was which approach is better for gaining channel control and brand control on Amazon. Now, this is, again, being one of the key things, controlling the brand quality and presentation, but also controlling things like price and what goes on to Amazon. This was an interesting debate, this particular one. What were some of the points that you guys made?
Yeah, well, we made the point that when you're selling 3P, which I was on the 1P team, so for intellectual honesty, I stuck with the 1P argument. And we're critical of the fact that in the 3P environment, you don't know who the hell's selling your product.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that the top three issues were all around control, brand control, channel control. And so I think we did a pretty good job making this argument that it's a bit of the wild, wild west, and your reputation matters a lot. Say what you will about 1P. If you sell directly to Amazon, at least people know where they're buying this from. Amazon.
Yeah. That's a good point. And in fact, I think, the thing that was really, about the 1P side is that if you will, in general, win what they call the buy box on Amazon on a listing, if you're selling to Amazon, they're generally going to win the sale versus other sort of unauthorized sellers of that product or other resellers of that product. So from a control of the buy box perspective, absolutely. We argued on the 3P side that, it gives you the ability to control price, set your price on Amazon when you're selling. It also gives you more data back in terms of what's happening on the channel. And it sort of gives you more control because with regard to kind of your presence on the channel, because Amazon, as a 3P model is more of a self-service model versus the 1P side, they're taking control. So we'll reveal who won that round when we get to the end. Andy, our round two was all about which selling method is preferable from an operational perspective, meaning which from a fulfillment standpoint and from a finance and processing standpoint. Now 1P operates like a traditional resale channel does, wherein you've got Amazon buying the product on a PO. They take the product in-house. It follows a lot of traditional process. I mean, that was really what you guys argued, right, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's what it was, is that, with Amazon, you ship the pallets, you ship the trucks. You don't have to handle the returns. I mean, operationally, it's a lot more consistent with, especially the way a brand manufacturer would operate.
Yep.
Much easier for them to work with Amazon operationally and logistically.
And then the 3P team argued, of course, that that you use what's called fulfillment by Amazon, in which Amazon handles all that last mile for you. They'll take the product into their fulfillment center. They will do the last mile shipping. The product will be Prime eligible, and they take the burden off of the manufacturer. But there is still more to do. I think that came out on your side related to you're selling now on 3P. You're selling contingency orders, or consignment, should I say, orders, where the finance team has to do some things differently. And so does the operations team, in the sense that they're not shipping against a PO. So there's some differences in the fulfillment process as well. And then we'll get back to who won that round at the end here. And then of course our third round was about returns, economic returns. Which one was superior from a financial perspective? And it's really the cost structure is different. I made the point at the beginning of this round that when you're selling wholesale, you get a wholesale revenue number. That's 1P. When you're selling retail, 3P, you're getting the whole retail number. So you're picking up that margin difference between wholesale selling and retail selling. But you have to pay some fees on the 3P side, like a commission to Amazon, like FBA fees, like storage costs, and resourcing costs as well. What was your argument on this side, Andy, on 1P?
Yeah, this is a tough one because it's kind of math. I mean, when you're a wholesaler, you're getting the wholesale price. When you're the retail, you get the retail price. The retail price is always going to be higher than the wholesale price. However, as Shalene pointed out, and I think quite accurately, is that maybe on a per unit basis, 3P is pretty obviously the winner here. But if you factor in the total cost, of
Right.
running that program, because you pointed out, so euphemistically you said, what was the term you just used? You called it resourcing costs. Well, if
Yeah.
I'm doing 3P, I got to have somebody who's managing that. I got to make sure that, somebody's making sure that FBA is working. I make sure somebody's not
Yes.
selling below map, or et cetera. So you got to factor that cost in, et cetera. So there's kind of a
Hmm.
compliance cost. But if you throw all that in, his feeling, having done
Hmm.
both, was that it kind of evens out.
Yeah, I think ultimately what we see is the P&L on these, unless your product is a really low price product, meaning your AOV is sub $10 in price point, the math usually works out in the favor of 3P. Although at the end of the day, it really depends on how you're resourcing and other things. But if you have a high AOV, relatively light to ship product, it almost always pencils to be much more profitable and higher revenue with 3P. But I mean, it varies. Like Charlene was saying, I mean, he was at GP, Georgia Pacific, and they sell toilet paper. I mean, talk about a low AOV item and a bulky product to ship, right? So anyhow, I think it varies quite a bit. And so we then, we did, of course, our dramatic to the decision, and we, in each of these rounds, we had, it was really interesting what happened here, because we'd used an audience meter, a clapometer, to determine who won each round. So we'd ask people to yell and scream at each one, which one they liked. So round one, which approach was better for gaining channel and brand control? It was a freaking tie. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I had the exact numbers. It was 95, 95. So the decimal meter read 95 for you and 95 for me. So it was a
That's right.
complete tie.
Complete tie. So of course we looked at each other and went, uh-oh. No one else knew what was going on here, but we had 2 more rounds, and the idea of 3 rounds is you emerge with a winner. So round 2, which selling method is preferable from an operational perspective? Andy, how was the vote on that one?
It was 89-88. Our team won. So one piece. At this point, if it had ended right then, we would have won, because it would have been a tie, which is like soccer. That's 1 point. A win is 3 points. So we would have actually won at this point.
You would have, except for round 3, which provides superior economic returns. Who won that one, Andy?
I don't remember. I'm just going to say it was really foggy. Okay. All right. I have to be honest here. It was 100-0.
This was the funniest thing that's ever happened before. I asked the question to the audience first. I said, okay, who votes for 1P on 1P providing a better financial return? And there was absolute silence.
I just assumed people didn't hear you. And I said, let's do that again.
I said that.
And it was 0. So
I said, did no one hear me?
Yeah, I know, that was shocking to me, because
It was
again,
so funny.
the math works out for 3P in general, but the fact that everybody thought that to be the case, although I think Adrian had some killer comments on this one, which really won the argument.
She hammered.
Yeah, she nailed it with some math, but yeah, that was never seen before. So then, if you do the math, we run round 2. You overwhelmingly won round 3, but then we tied on round 1, so we were basically tied overall, and so we had to have a clap off.
We had a clap off. And Andy, who won the clap off?
You barely. I had the notes here. You won 98-96, but the fact that it was even close after you winning round 3, in a decisive way. I'm thrilled that our team came within 2 decimal points or decimal meter points of actually winning this thing. We win in this. I thought for sure we're gonna get wiped, especially with that 3rd round.
You guys did a great job, Andy, I have to say, and your team did a great job. I mean, our team did too.
Well, kudos to Charlene and Rudy. They both really nailed it.
Yeah, and Sam and Adrian were awesome too. But so we asked the rational humans what they thought, not the people in the audience at B2B Online. Sorry, everyone that went to B2B Online, but it should have been overwhelming 3P, everybody. But we asked the rational human beings in our LinkedIn audience, which is a better approach for B2B companies selling products on Amazon, 1P or 3P. Oh, and guess what, Andy? You got crushed again. 3P Seller Central, 66%. 1P, only 34%. Clearly, people think it's a better selling method. Look, at the end of the day, it really is company dependent. 1P, we've had clients that we work with at Insiba that have done great work on 1P and are having great success. And there are others that, have had the similar or even greater success in 3P in some cases. So It's really highly dependent on your particular situation. Okay, so we got to get to our couple of announcements here, folks. Thanks for listening in. First, I want to remind everyone about our Master B2B Nexus program. This was a great success at B2B Online this week in Atlanta, where we had a table there. Thank you, Ryan Culp and team, for accommodating all of that. We had some great conversations. This is a private expert advisory service on demand for B2B e-commerce professionals and executives. We have a team of folks who are experts and your peers who we go, we find with any question instantly to address any question you have. And we mitigate risk. It's like a personal advisor. Chris Gurman runs that program for us. He was at Gartner for quite a long time, doing a similar thing with CIOs. He's brought that expertise to us. Go to our website, Master B2B, look up Nexus, and you'll find out more. It is a paid service for practitioners only.
Hey, Brian, I'll say one thing quickly too about Nexus. We use every tool available. We think this is the way things are going to be at some point, where it's a combination of agents and answer engines and human expertise all blended together. So we aren't one or the other. We're all of the above.
Right. Absolutely. It's humans, and of course we use our own AI now that we've developed to help us deliver some of these answers. So pretty cool stuff, guys. We have an unprecedented and unmatched quality in our database where we can help to bring these folks to light for you, match you with the right people and such. So it's a really great service. The fourth annual Mindshare Summit is coming up on March 10th and 11th, 2026. We are really excited about this. We've got, I think, about 60 people already signed up. I'm sharing a QR code for those of you who can see my screen where you can log in and sign up. We are extending complimentary tickets only through December 10th. After that point, we will be charging for tickets. So if you, that's for practitioners. If you would like to sign up, do it now because those complimentary seats will go. So I'll leave this up for a second for anyone who wants to scan it, who's watching this. If not, go to our website, masterb2b.com, and click on events, and you'll find the summit. You can apply to attend there as well.
By the way, the 50 number is an old number. We have more than that actually at this point.
Do we have more now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, after this last week, it jumped pretty significantly.
So. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're running out of space. Okay. So sign up now. Yeah. Here you go. More calls.
100 days. It's 100 days away too. I mean, we're this full this early. It's pretty impressive.
It's only 3 months. Yeah, it's still 3 months out. Our forum, guys, is a great place. There's no cost to join if you're a practitioner. Practitioners only. Go to our website, sign up for the forum to apply to attend or join. Great conversations happening here every day. Encourage you to join that. And then finally, I want to remind everyone that our Friday 15 is available in podcast form on your favorite podcast service. Please give us a rating and review. Only if positive. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Any final words before we wrap up our Friday 15?
No, but boy, November turned out to be Amazon month. We've done a lot of discussion about Amazon, but it's good. We took a deep dive. It's been a while, and it's hard to deny the reality here, which is that I don't know if they're doing it by hook or by crook. They are moving forward pretty dramatically with their capabilities and their success.
They sure are. Yep, we'll tackle some more topics as we move into the end of the year. But thanks, everyone, for joining on our Friday 15, and we will see you next week.